Good morning, everyone. We are here today because we have concluded the investigation into the murder of Sonny Kim in subsequent actions by Police Specialist Tom Sandman. I first want to thank the Cincinnati Police Department and Chief Isaac for the extensive review of evidence that they conducted, and every day, Chief, I have to tell you, I am impressed by your department and what you guys do every day, men and women of your department. I'll cut to, I think you have the press release now. There will be no more charges filed in this matter. The killer is dead, obviously. Had he not died, he would be facing the death penalty for the murder of Sonny Kim. Let me talk about the video for a second. It's my understanding that and just to be clear on a legal basis, the reason I feel comfortable releasing this video at this time is because the investigation is complete, consistent with the release of the Tenzing video earlier this year. That investigation was complete, an indictment was returned, and we felt at that point it became a public record. In this case, because the investigation is complete, similarly, we believe that it is a public record now. It's my understanding that some members of the media are broadcasting live today. Therefore, we have two separate videos, so you understand. One is the raw video, which we intended to play for you, but because there's live broadcast going on, we're not going to play it for you. You will be given a copy of that, but I'm not going to show it on live TV. The second is a shortened version of the live video. It's very short, and quite frankly, the most relevant part of the tape, but it clouds out and pixelates Sonny Kim's body so you can't see him laying on the ground. And if you have any questions before we show this short tape, I'm happy to answer it. But I would also like to add, and quite frankly, I believe most people in this room and your editors and people who make these decisions would not show the raw tape. My concern has not been you all in this room. My concern has always been a blogger or somebody like that who puts it on YouTube. Sonny was, and the chief and I were talking about this before, Sonny was everything Hummons was not. He was a loving father, a loving husband. He dedicated his life to this city, and ultimately he paid the ultimate price to protect us. And the video of his body lying on the ground, I just am not going to play this on live TV. If you guys choose to do that, I think it would be a shame, but I believe it's a public record, and because the investigation is over, we will distribute those at the end. Any preliminary questions?
Joe, do we have any reason, any cause behind the shooting, Trey Pierre's motives?
The night before, he was accused by his girlfriend, and she actually signed a complaint for rape. And he came back to his mother's house and was very distraught about it. He didn't want to be, this is according to his mother, so you can take it for what it's worth. He did not want to be known as a registered sex offender his whole life. And the next morning, she reported that he was acting strange, told her, everything's going to be all right today, Mom. And she went out to walk the dog. She ran into him on the street, and he had alcohol with him, and his autopsy revealed he was under the influence of alcohol and Valium at the time of this incident, Valium-like substance. And I think everyone can have different opinions on what the motivation was. I believe the motivation was his goal was to lure and kill as many police officers as he could. And if not for the actions of Specialist Tom Sandman, there could have been a lot more dead police officers. He deserves a medal. And he just decided, I don't think he cared if he got killed, but this is not suicide by cop. This just isn't. Suicide by cop is when you confront the cops with a weapon, you don't shoot them, number one. You're trying to be shot yourself. And that was not his goal. He shot Officer Kim. When they arrive at the scene, and I need to tell you this too, Sonny's dash cam was not on, okay? So all we have is Officer Salmon's dash cam when he arrives at the scene. The murder of Sonny Kim has already transpired, and the only thing is that you would see would be Sonny lying on the ground. When Sonny arrived on the scene, we believe the facts are that the mother came towards him because Sonny got out of the car and pulled his taser. And she said, he's not armed, I'll talk to him. And she's got her back to Hummons, her son. And she doesn't realize he's armed. And he reaches into his back waistband where he had the gun, goes around Mom, and shoots Sonny. Sonny was shot 3 times through both arms. One, we think it was a ricochet when he was on the ground. And just the tragic bad luck of the shot that passed into his left side, and between the, it was described to us today, this morning, like a deck of cards, like a webbing, so that the vest can expand. And if had it hit one of the ribs of that vest, it would have stopped it. But it went between two of the ribs and passed into Sonny's left side and moved to the right, and ultimately hit his artery there, pulmonary artery, and it was non-survivable.
He didn't shoot at all.
He did not.
And did Perpetrator then pick up his gun?
He
shoot
did.
Salmon?
He did. Officer Salmon was shot at by Hummons with Sonny's gun.
Did Officer Kim draw his gun?
No. I think he might have, was trying to at least. He had a taser initially when this happened, and he's walking up behind his mom and just goes around his mom, and the investigators think that the first shot was the fatal one.
Did he have his taser because the mom had said she didn't think her son was armed?
No, I think he just got out to deal with that. I think he just got out to deal with the unruly person or the guy with a gun.
Joe, how soon from the time when Officer Kim was shot did Salmon arrive?
Pretty rapidly. I mean, we have a timeline for you that we'll distribute, but it happened very rapidly.
How many shots did Officer Salmon or Specialist Salmon fire at Perpetrator?
I think he fired 16. 17 shots.
How many made contact?
2. 1 mass center. I think the other one was in the shoulder. Oh, I'm sorry, it was in the side back here. What happened was he went down to the first shot, and the gun fell, and he was crawling after the gun, and he got shot the second time.
Did he sort of follow Sandman around the car?
Yeah, Officer Salmon got out of the car, and you'll see even on the shortened version, you'll see Hummons coming at him with the gun. And Officer Salmon gets out of his car. A bullet actually went through the driver's side window as he exited the car. And as he was trained to do, and I should stress, everyone in this situation did exactly as they were trained to do. He proceeded behind the car, getting away from Hummons, and that gunfight occurred right there.
Was Hummons' initial weapon registered? Was it his? What did you know about the gun?
No, it wasn't his. He got it from an ex-girlfriend or something. You know, it's typical nonsense.
So all the officers that responded, Officer Kim, Officer Sandman, they all followed policy?
Absolutely.
So there is no need for any sort of policy change whatsoever in responding?
No, I would give Officer Salmon an award. I mean, he saved other people.
Any lessons learned here, Joe?
I'm just shocked that I just grew up in a different environment where you could have the evil about you to call 911 and ambush a police officer. I can't get my mind around that.
Joe, would you give us a sense of the probation officer, where that officer was, and his role, if any?
During the walk with the mom, when she ran into her son, she approached the probation officer and said her son was acting weird. Would you talk to him? So they actually talked. And Hummons said to the probation officer, "Hey, you do a good job." And probation officer was not in uniform, obviously, and shook his hand and walked off. And the probation officer kind of hung around, and you'll be able to see him. Jenny, you can stop this, right? It's a shortened one, but you can stop it or not.
It stopped with him walking off, with Mr. Hummons walking off the screen.
Can you see the PO?
I don't think you can. I think he's still on the side of his car at that point.
When the after the shots were fired at Sonny, the probation officer was behind a car. Probation officers are not police officers, and they apparently are trained to take cover, and that's what he did.
So to Trey Pierre, he wasn't a good enough get. His goal was to kill.
Right. I think he wanted to kill uniformed officers. Okay.
Did the test fail, Joe?
No, it's just a horrible piece of luck. I mean, horrible.
Inch or two away is all we're talking about?
Centimeters. I mean, there's like it was described to us today as like a deck of cards, okay? Ribbed like that. And the bullet slipped through two of the ribs.
Any odds of that happening, or?
They're like astronomical. I mean, it's a fluke. But nonetheless, he intentionally shot at Sonny Kim. Okay, he could have hit him in the face. It's an unspeakable tragedy, not just for the community, but members of my staff last week met with them and members of the chief's department to make sure they knew this was coming, because I didn't want Officer Kim has a lovely family. I think many of you saw them, and they're just the sweetest people. I got the opportunity to speak with his widow a few days afterwards, and she thanked me for not releasing the video. And I told her, when the investigation is complete, this is going to have to come out. And she just appreciated it didn't come out right away.
Knowing that, I mean, really, there's no precedent set by the Supreme Court on really video releasing. Would you like to see a precedent set?
Yes. I don't know if you read our pleading. In the Tenzing case, after the investigation was complete, we released that video. And it's a technique in investigations. I mean, when you have people talking, different witnesses, I really don't want to show them what we have until they give us their statement. And I don't want them to couch their testimony around a video that we've released. So there is no precedent, and in our pleading, because we gave the Tenzing video over, it's a moot issue. Obviously, you guys all have it, but I went further in the Supreme Court pleading and say, hey, this is a moot issue, but we would really like you to rule on this, because this isn't going to stop. This is going to go on and on and on. I mean, I know CPD is getting ready to deal with body cams in the sheriff's office, and we need to develop a protocol, but we need direction either from the legislature or the court to tell us the parameters by which we can keep this as an investigative tool. That's very important. And look, this took 5 months. If you saw the work that CPD did in the shooting book, it's about this thick. And they interview everybody, they're transcribed, they go through everything on this. We act very rapidly. It's not like a year and a half like what happened in Chicago. That's not the way we operate. We do it as fast as we can and get it out as fast as we can.
On the flip side, maybe there's the argument too that 911 tapes will come out within a day or immediately.
You guys can ask Communications or CPD, they can provide this for you. Those are the public record no matter what.
So you see the video as a different type of
Yes.
public document.
Yes. I don't see the video as a public document until the investigation's done.
Why would video be different than 911?
911 is civilian talking to a civilian, okay? Dash cams, body cams are on the police, law enforcement, turned over to us in an incident. So it's law enforcement, it's internal, that's why. That's the difference.
So if I was standing on the street corner at the time Sonny Kim was shot and I had cell phone video,
Right?
that would be different.
Yes.
Be public.
Yeah. Yep. You see those all the time.
Chief, can we talk to the chief?
Sure, Chief, go ahead.
Any statement you want to make, Chief?
Just want to take this time to thank Mr. Deters and the Prosecutor's Office for their work on this. A very difficult time for all of us, many of us, myself included, knew and worked with Sonny. An all-around tragedy. I understand that, this is the time that we have to release the video so that you all are able to do your job as well. I also echo just the consideration for the family and what they have to go through as well. So I'll try to answer any questions if you have.
There could be a 911 call right now of a man with a gun. As you look at this, Joe has said that all the responding officers acted according to policy. Is that your feeling as well from what you know about this case? And is there a need for any sort of policy alteration whatsoever in responding to a 911 call?
Not on the part of CPD. Our officers acted within policy and responded to the call that they received. So no change in policy regarding that.
How's
any
Officer
intent-
Sandman doing, and what is his job status right now?
He's back at work. Obviously, this was a friend, a co-worker. Any type of incident like this will obviously impact you, but he's back to work, doing his job and performing in a professional, excellent way.
Chief, their ambushes of police officers have increased across the country. It's not, for us, this is a unique experience, but this is what's going on. Does it change anything in the police department, or are they already trained to look over their shoulder and be prepared for Trey Pierre Hummins?
We have the best trained officers in the country. Our officers are professional and they're vigilant. They recognize that at times these things do happen, and they respond in the appropriate fashion.
What stands out when you look at the video to you?
You know, it's a tragedy. That's my friend laying on the ground, someone that I worked with. So it strikes a chord with me as well. But our officers are professional. They're thorough. They were able to complete the investigation in a very excellent fashion as well.
Lessons learned here, Chief, same thing I asked Joe Deters.
The lessons that we always learn from these type of incidents, that in our profession we must be vigilant. We must look after each other. We must also try to operate in a manner that these type of incidents don't happen. If we come across, or we encourage other people that are come across someone like Trey Pierre Hummins who may have some emotional distress, that they get the help that they need so that they don't respond in this fashion as well.
Is it possible, they follow policy, but were there any tactical errors made by anybody at that scene that day?
No, they responded appropriately.
Joe, let me ask you one thing about the mother. So Trey Pierre goes around her to shoot Officer Kim, and then what happens after that in terms of the mother?
You'll see, even in the blurred thing, she's on her knees over Sonny, trying to comfort him as he was dying. And that's what happened. She seems to be a pretty good lady
Was the probation officer
with a
shot
very
at
bad
two?
son. Go ahead.
Was it great? Was the probation officer shot at two?
Initially, there was some indication of that, but we believe that did not happen. Okay, Jenny, can you slow it, or can you stop it in frame? Okay.
Joe?
This is Officer Salmon's dash cam.
What street are we on right now?
We're gonna give you the, okay, Sonny's on the ground here, and that's him walking up to Salmon's car, firing. That's all I'm gonna show. Do it again, Minnie, so they get it one more time. Okay, stop it right there, if you can, Minnie. Can you stop it in frame? That's the mother on the ground over Sonny. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the probation officer is back here behind this car. Is that right, Julie?
Can I just reference to that? I thought there were several bullet holes in that probation officer's car. I just want to double check about that.
My understanding is he was not shot at. He was, Jeff
He
said
was,
yes?
he was pointing the gun at him.
I know he's pointing his gun at him.
They didn't, there weren't,
Oh, okay, that's right.
what's,
He was keeping him down, because he was going at Salmon.
okay, so he did
Yes,
shoot at the
yeah,
probation
yes,
officer
yes,
who was behind the car?
yes.
Okay.
That's Hummins. And obviously, Specialist Sandman is exiting his car as this guy's approaching. He sees Sonny on the ground, and he's exiting through here. He fires. As I said, one of the bullets passed the driver's side window when the door was open. Go ahead, man. He's smoking a cigarette too, just casual. We think he got hit right there.
Definitely not suicide by cop.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. As I said before, we will, the entire video is about 50 minutes long, and we'll be distributing that. I want to reiterate what the chief said. And you have sophisticated techniques to take Sonny's body out of these pictures too, if you want to show a longer version of it, responding officers. But I would urge that you all use discretion, and this is not a threat, but I'm not going to forget who airs it if they air it.
Can we talk about the process real quick?
Sure.
This was a decision to say the shooting was justified on your own without a grand jury. Can you talk about the process of that a little?
I have the full discretion to take it to a grand jury or not. After receiving the shooting book last week and a review of it with my staff, I made a determination that we weren't going to a grand jury. It's open and shut. It's tragic. And why would I put that decision on a bunch of civilians? If it was close or something and we needed to let people look at it, I would have done it, but this isn't even close.
But the subpoena referenced a grand jury investigation? Like, was one started and
Yeah.
stopped?
It was always a grand jury investigation, always.
Even if they don't hear the
Correct.
So Joe, just to be clear, Hummins' motive was not suicide by cop,
It was an attempt at mass murder. He was going to kill as many cops as he could. That's what he was trying to do.
any idea, any further on that?
If he had 50 guns, he would have emptied every gun he had at responding officers.
Was anything happen nationally that might have sparked that in the
I have no idea.
Joe, you mentioned the rape allegations the night before. Was there anything else in his past indicate?
He was convicted. He was a convicted felon. He, at least as a juvenile, of robbery. Not much of a record.
So no evidence of any mental illness or any?
No.
Have we, that's actually a very good question. So in all of the investigations about Mr. Hummins, was there any mention of mental illness?
No.
None. Were those questions asked?
I'm sure the investigators talked to Mom about it.
Joe, could you explain to us again, talk to us again about the release of cruiser cam videos? Because there are plenty of instances where cruiser cam videos are released, regardless of ongoing investigation. What is it that makes
Look,
this?
if a police agency wants to do that and release stuff to the media, that's their choice. We prefer, until the investigation is over, that they would not, for investigating purposes.
Back to the grand jury.
Mhm.
Has there ever been a grand jury consider a police officer involved shooting?
Sure.
In Hamilton County?
Yeah.
Names?
No. Anything else? Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Chief.